Hey everyone, welcome to the Gamer and the Weeb podcast, the only podcast that needed a stim pack to come back. I'm your host Ryan, here with your co-host Leo. And Leo, what are we talking about today?
Yo, how's it going, everyone? It has been a long time. It's been what, fucking two years probably since the last upload.
Yep,
Uh,
and I've been just spamming your DMs with res me, bro, and you just left me here to die.
yeah, we've been me and Ryan been busy with our honeymoon for those 2 years.
Oh
So
yeah.
we needed a break from all this YouTube and content making stuff. But let's talk about what makes a really good video game adaptation when it comes to TV show or movie wise. And recently, we're beginning a wave of amazing adaptations. Well, I wouldn't say amazing, but good to the point where it's like, yeah, I'll watch that again. You know, it's pretty good. Um, but the one that has been surprisingly amazing has been the Fallout series. And
I I
oh,
agree. I was gonna say, I actually, because we talked about this yesterday, and that's kind of why we're back here. Is the Fallout TV show, and I actually continue watching because only had seen the first two episodes when we talked last. So I think I'm on episode 5 now, and I
okay.
gotta say, like, I've been blown away so far.
Yeah, it's been and then the thing is I'm watching, I was trying to think like why is this show good? Because usually video game adaptations are not good. For example, like one that comes to mind would be like the Mario movie, like the old school Mario movie, not the animation one, the old school one. Uh they butchered that media with that movie. I'm trying to think of what's another video game movie that was not good.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking about this since we talked about it, and I was like, "There's Laura Croft's Tomb Raider." I don't know if you remember that with Angelina
Oh, I
Jolie. Like
remember
those, like a
that.
lot of people hype those up, but it's kind of just like Angelina Jolie carrying the whole movie. I wouldn't say they're good like Tomb Raider movies. We have I don't know if you remember Doom,
Oh, I
like
remember with The Rock.
yeah, with The
Oh
Rock and
my
Carl Urban.
god, that was terrible. Okay, yeah, I remember that one.
Terrible movie. Only saved by like the very end when they actually go in like Doom Vision, where it's kind of like the original game where you're just like first person. I don't know
I
if you
remember
remember
that.
that.
I remember that. Yeah, I think that was a pretty cool scene that stood out.
I was gonna say Mario, absolutely terrible. The original Mario movie.
Oh, have you played the Rampage games?
Yes, I've played the Rampage. There's a movie.
Yeah, there's a movie with The Rock again.
Oh gee.
uh,
Oh yes, yes. I totally forgot about that movie. Oh my god. Need for Speed. There's a Need for Speed
oh yeah, I
movie.
totally
It's
forgot
also
about that one.
terrible with your boy Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, there was the Prince of Persia one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Terrible.
There was
Assassin's Creed.
yeah, the Assassin's Creed one. They even had the World of Warcraft one, just called Warcraft.
Yeah, and I didn't even like justify that with the watch. I was just like, absolutely not.
Wow, I'm looking up all these video game movies, and there's a lot of terrible ones that I've seen.
There's been like two different Street Fighter ones.
hmm
Mortal Kombat has had like, you know, I think at this point three different Mortal Kombat movies.
There was technically there's four if you want to count the YouTube series that they brought out that Machinima came out with. It was like there was like a 6 episode or 7 episode like season that was okay, but they changed so many things. I'm like, that's not how it goes. Like the best episode from that series was just the introduction to the cyborgs, which is Cyrax and Sector. That was probably the only good one in my opinion that they had. There's also the Resident Evil movies that came out
Oh yeah,
that were not that
but
good either.
but then I will say we had all the, like a universal like style of just terrible video game movies. Video game movies can't work. Yada yada yada. And then I genuinely, this is my opinion. I think all of that changed with Sonic the Hedgehog.
For sure it did. It's Sonic is what made it different because we've seen movies that either try to well no, it mostly just try to just redo the story that's already in the game. So it's like, hey, let's just show these people what they already know, but let's change some of the properties to make it worse, and it's just live action form. That's pretty much what's been coming out since like they first started doing it. But Sonic was even though Sonic yes does like follow a lot of the stories, there was no dialogue in the first few Sonic games. You just ran on a 2D platform, you know? And the movie was more like, well, we got to work with something where there was no dialogue. So they had to create like a lot of new things that fit, but not going too far from the source material, which I think Sonic did super duper well in.
Yeah, and I think one thing that really like set the tone for Sonic was the first picture they showed of Sonic. Everyone was dumping on it. It was the worst Sonic ever, blah blah blah. And instead of just doubling down on this design, they actually changed it into something that fans would like, and it would look closer to the actual game. And I think that was gave us as fans like, okay, look, they're willing to change and do this for us. Let's give this movie a chance. And I think what really made, in my opinion, what really made the movie stand out and movie different from other video game adaptations is it was its own story, but also it paid homage to the games. Like, it wasn't a big thing when like every time Sonic got injured, he wasn't dropping, the rings. But there were a couple scenes where he did drop the rings, and all the fans are like, "Oh, look at that!" Like it was little things like that where it's not exactly like the game, but it's throwing it out there for people who love the games. Like, oh, here you go.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is true, but I think when they brought out the first art style of how they're gonna go with Sonic until we started crapping on it, I think they might have even changed some stuff probably from the actual story. I'm not sure if that happened, but I will not be surprised if like, hey, I think we should change a few things from this movie because if everyone hated this design, then we should change a few things. Because you can kind of tell like with that design, they might have had a different script with that terrible design. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they probably did go in and go back and say like, okay, the fans are not taking this very well. Like, let's see what we can change about it.
Yeah, I know.
And then
And oh, go.
no, I was gonna say something about now I'm totally spacing out on it about the design of Sonic.
Well, I mean, I did like how because I get they're trying to make them realistic to fit the live action. I get that, but sometimes it doesn't work out. So like, I like how they kind of just stuck with his original like cartoon design. They just added a few more like realistic like like fluff and hair and stuff. And that was a good movie. And I'm a huge Sonic fan, so I was looking forward to this movie. So when I saw the movie after we finished watching it, I was like, that was actually good. I was surprised that it was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, like I enjoy. Okay, I have to tell this story if we're talking about Sonic. Real quick sidebar. So just so everyone knows, this is how much I'm dedicated
Oh.
to the host here. It is it is Valentine's Day. Sonic, the first movie comes out. It is my first Valentine's Day with my fiance, who we've been together for almost 5 years now, getting married October. Um, and I ditched her on our first Valentine's Day to go watch Sonic the Hedgehog with Leo.
Who wouldn't though?
Well, I was gonna say, imagine if I would have come home complaining about how bad Sonic was. Like, oh, it wasn't even worth going to the movies. She would have
Oh, yeah.
she would have killed me. But I was glad. Moral of the story: I was glad I could go home and tell her, like, dude, this movie was actually good. Like, and I think that set the tone because I don't know if this movie came out before or after Castlevania.
No, I think it came out after Castlevania, I believe.
Okay, because Castlevania is also really good. It's not a movie, it's a TV show, but so is Fallout. And it is a really good video game adaptation. Like, it has everything you would want in a Castlevania game, but just condensed down. It's got the pretty much the story of Castlevania 1, but it's not like one season. They didn't focus on, like, okay, let's take everything from the first game, condense it down into one season, and that's it. Because then things get muddled and it feels rushed. It was like, hey, let's build this game up, until we have the first game is pretty much the first two seasons, but it takes its time getting you into the world and building the show up. and it gives you the same thing, like the references to the game, like you know, he his whips and the magic and some of the monsters, like it's just a little. It's not a main focus. It tells its own story, but has enough for the people who love the games.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Castlevania show, but it is on my list to watch. But I have heard nothing but good things about it. I even seen or I read a director or producer of the show was actually a huge Berserk fan, and he even threw in some like Berserk references into the show, which I was like, okay, I have to watch it. That's the case.
Oh yeah, season 4 you'll definitely see some heavy like berserk love. Like one of the characters is like their armor and the sword. You're like, oh, okay, this is just guts. Got it.
I think I seen that screenshot. He was even doing like the guts pose when he goes into his berserker armor form, and I'm like,
Hmm.
that's pretty sick.
Well, the director also did a YouTube like mini movie of the Power Rangers, like a dark version of the Power Rangers,
Oh wow.
and it was really good. But he's also gonna do a Devil May Cry show, and he's obviously still working on the sequel series to Castlevania.
Yeah, and actually that's a perfect way to go into what also makes the video game adaptation so good recently is because they've been hiring a bunch of directors who have such love to the actual source. Like they grew up playing these games. Like even the producer or director, I forget who it was for Sonic. When he first announced like the logo for Sonic 3, he said, "Guys, be ready. You guys are going to love this movie." And he hinted that there's a lot of things that they're gonna implement into it. I think they're taking from Sonic Adventure 2, which is personally my favorite Sonic game. I grew up playing that one, so I cannot wait. Because even in Sonic 2, when they introduced Knuckles and Tails, there's a scene when they're Sonic. Okay, for spoilers if you haven't seen it, but it's been out for years. If you haven't, you're dumb. But there's a
Yeah,
scene.
exactly.
there's a scene of Sonic and Tails when they're at a bar and they're like they were wearing like the snow gear. There's a part when Sonic is I think fighting everyone and he jumps and there's a little pose and it was literally the pose to Sonic Adventure 1, like the game art. Looks just like it. I'll put it side by side. It looks so cool. I was like, when I saw that, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, that's the pose. Like it's stuff like that that really appreciates, or you could tell like the director's like, hey, I'm gonna give back to like the people that I grew up with that have love for the game, and I think that's also like no, that's a huge part on the reason why these new games are being made with pretty good story and um character how do I say character arcs, stuff like that, just because of the fact that the director have so much love for the series. So Sonic 3 is gonna be awesome.
You make a really good point, and that's something I want to touch on. Is like we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Is Sonic 1 was about Sonic finding like a family, like his like a basically his parents. Like he never had people to watch over him. He didn't really know where he like belonged, and Sonic 1 is about that, like him finding his place in the world. Sonic 2 is about him finding friends, him finding more people that are like him, and him not hiding from the world. And there, in comes Knuckles and Tails. And so I'm very curious to see kind of what they do with Shadow, because these other two movies, like we've been saying, they have a very good, strong story about like, hey, find yourself, find the people who are like you. And now, what about Shadow? Like we have Shadow here. He's supposed to be, the Goku and Vegeta dynamic of the Sonic series, or the Batman and Superman of the Sonic series, like friends but also rivals. So it's kind of like I'm curious to see what they do with Shadow.
You know, thinking about that third one, they might just pull off or what they might do with Sonic is probably because he murdered Eggman in the second movie. He killed him like he when he went super. Um, so it might be it could be like him learning kind of like Goku, where he's like he won't kill unless he absolutely has to. I don't know, maybe because Shadow might teach him something. Because Shadow has
Because
that backstory with Maria and stuff.
which again, it could be interesting to see if they bring that in. But something I keep thinking about in my head is what you said the other day. Like if I'm gonna riot if freaking Shadow doesn't have a chopper and a gun, I'm
Oh yeah,
done.
for some Shadow the Hedgehog game.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
dude, I'll actually write if I mean they're gonna do it. There's no way because Maria plays a really big part of who Shadow is as a character, and if the director has shown us in the past two movies that he's like, hey, I love Sonic. Let me prove to you why I know and I love Sonic, and he showed us. I would actually be so livid if Maria wasn't in this movie, but I doubt that would happen. She has to be in it. She's like a core reason of who Shadow is as a character.
oh yeah. And then I know you're hype about it. I have my ifs about it. Is the voice they picked a good voice actor. I won't say too much about it, but Keanu, he'll do Shadow justice. I feel.
I mean, and honestly, you're not wrong that like Shadow is not Shadow. Keanu is getting hired in too many things. I understand that part. I'm like, okay, I know he's awesome dude. I heard he's a really good person in general too. But it's like when he's going through that phase where like he's getting hired by everyone. And sometimes it gets annoying like, oh, Keanu's in this fucking movie. But I was actually kind of excited for him to play Shadow because I didn't even know a good voice for Shadow. I didn't even know who to choose. Because you said it was either Robert Pattinson or who was the other one who played Anakin?
Hayden Christensen. Those are two rumored voice actors.
Yeah, so when you said those two, I was like, but I can't really see maybe Robert Pattinson up to that Batman role, um, which also best Batman. I don't give a shit. Um,
Agreed.
I see a TikTok of someone uploaded a clip of Batman when he was in that when he was gonna fight the cops. Oh, when he punches Gordon. And someone said worst Batman ever. I was like, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
Oh my god! But going back to it, so I can see Robert. I couldn't see the guy who played Anakin. I couldn't see that part. Um, and I didn't think Keanu either. But I saw a TikTok of someone putting Keanu's voice over Shadow, and I was like, this actually fits very well. But it does not matter because the only thing that matters, in my opinion, is the way he pulls off chaos control.
I was gonna say the same thing. Ever since he's been hired, I can only hear Keanu being like, "Chaos control." Like I can only hear him say that. Like, what was the
Exactly.
other one? It was chaos control, and what was the good version that no one ever did?
It was chaos control, and it was I don't know, man. I really
I
don't
don't know.
know.
It made you like really fast or something like that. I remember that. I was like, lame.
Oh, I think it's just chaos control. I think.
Is it?
Yeah, because
Am
I
I
know
just like remembering something completely different?
because I know in the game, when you first meet Shadow as Sonic in the hero side of the missions, Shadow's on top of the beaten robot and he goes chaos control, and then he runs past Sonic and Sonic doesn't even flinch like that he was next to him. I know he has other moves that you use like chaos spear, but he doesn't really say that though. Damn, we're talking about Sonic too much, but it's because Sonic's the best
Yeah.
adaptation so
Yes.
far. Here let's move on to another game. A more so this one I was a little more on the middle. I didn't know if I liked it, but I didn't know if I didn't like it. But it wasn't bad compared to the older movies. But the Mortal Kombat movie that came out like 2 years ago or 3 years
I
ago.
think that had a lot of potential, but I feel like they wasted. The one thing I really didn't like about it, I'm just gonna be honest, was that the movie wasn't focused on Liu Kang.
Yeah, it was focused on the Scorpion's aunt's like one of the leader relatives, which he could have been cool, but they gave him first off, the power system is stupid in my opinion. I don't like the power system. I don't like that you need to have this little burn mark of the dragon on your neck or whatever it is just to even have access to powers. I thought that was stupid. I didn't like that at all. But
Agreed. It takes away like the hardship of training that all the people went through to get their powers. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it's also stupid how like you have to have that mark in order to join the tournament. I'm like, no, dude, that's not how it happens. You know, like I get it. Like before, it was Raiden choosing who should fight. He's like, hey, I know you're good. I want you in my squad. Now it's like, well, you have the tattoo, so you have to join now. Like, what? I thought that was so stupid.
Yeah, and I didn't like the I mean there were so many things that I didn't like, but also like some of the fights were really cool, like the fatalities were cool, like the little nods to the game were cool. But again, the difference between, and sorry to go back to Sonic, but the difference between Mortal Kombat and Sonic is Sonic had a great story and Mortal Kombat didn't have a good story at all. It was too messy. It didn't get you involved with the characters, and they relied heavily on the fact that, like, hey, look, here's Sonya Blade, and here's Liu Kang, and here's Kung Lao. Like, these are the characters from the game that you know and love, instead of making us actually love these characters.
Yeah, like you could tell that like the story wasn't really well thought. They it was more focused on the fighting and the brutality of Mortal Kombat, which is yeah, that's why we love these games. But even the story when the games were actually really good, like especially like Scorpion stories, Sub Zero story, like the whole plot twist between them. Um, even like Kung Lao's story was pretty good, and you could and then honestly, it seems like they had two separate writing staffs. One was good to the point where Kano just took all the good writing, and then the second one was just like kind of like lackluster. Like I did like how, but see, this is I didn't like that Cabal was already like a villain, and that's not really how it happened in the games. He was more like a good guy first, and then switched to a villain after like the second or third tournament. But this is the first one that we're seeing that takes place, which is like based off Mortal Kombat 1. And I'm like, I get that you're trying to change it up, but there's a reason why people didn't like those changes. And that's also the thing is that people they do these changes thinking it's good when it's not good. So like Cosmonaut Marcus is one of my favorite reviewers for like a lot of things. He was talking about comic book movies, more of Batman and Superman. And he was talking about why they get so screwed over in this in media. And that's because these directors are like, let's make Batman kill. And when they do that, you just know that these directors do not know the purpose of why Batman is Batman. He literally loves life. He doesn't want to kill. But when Zack Snyder's like, oh, I perceive it as like he's not really killing them, is he just they just happen to be in his explosives. I'm like, dude, Batman wouldn't do that though. Batman does not do that. He thinks about what happened, the consequences later on. Like, and directors who do that just don't know crap. So that's why, like, when they did that with Mortal Kombat, like all these tattoos or like and shit like that, I was like, no, dude, that's not how it goes. And let's talk about the character that I forgot his character. Was his name Cole?
I think what let me just let's have our service guy look it up, and by that I mean I'll look it up.
But while you're looking that up, Cole. See, the thing is, adding a new character is not a bad thing. You just have to know how to write them good enough to be likable, to be relatable. But it was just more like, hey, I get beat up all the time. That's my trait. And then, of course, the last fight, I'll actually win. But even and then
Cole Young.
Cole
Yep.
Young, there you go, yeah. And I think what also made people not like this dude is the fact that his power was the most lamest one in the entire universe.
Yeah, I don't like that's how bad it was. I don't even remember like I don't remember it at all. The power that he had, it was just completely he was a completely uninteresting character to me, and it felt really cheap to me for them to just kind of like rope him in with um Scorpion. Like they're trying to get people to care about this character through the fact that he's related to Scorpion, which I thought was really cheap.
Like, yeah, and Scorpion being such a fan favorite character, like I guess they thought, oh, he's a descendant of Scorpion, so you guys will like him. Like, that's not how it works, man. But whatever. I mean, I'm hoping the second one is just that will be as good. It was kind of weird of the who's that one guy from The Boys? What's his
Carl
name?
Urban. He's the same guy that was in Dune we were talking about
Yeah,
earlier.
exactly. Yeah. When they hired him as Johnny Cage, I'm like, I don't see that, dude. I don't see that him just Johnny Cage. To be honest.
I think I could see the humor part of Johnny, and he does have the acting chops to like pull off the serious moments of Johnny. But also, I don't think he really look. And you don't have to look like a character to be good in that character. But also, like you gotta be able to. People have to look at the screen and go, "Oh, that's Johnny Cage." You know what I mean?
hmm
Like every time Liu Kang came on screen when the Mortal Kombat movie was going on, I was like, "That's Liu Kang." Like that guy looks like Liu Kang,
Hmm.
talks like him, fights like him. Probably should have been the main character of this movie, but hey, I'm not the writer. I don't get paid millions of dollars to make shitty movies. That's someone else's job.
No, and the thing is too, man. Like, the characters, a lot of them were wasted, man. I think they killed off Kung Lao too quick. When he died, I was like, okay, I don't like that. He died way too fast, in my opinion. Because I know he does die, and Liu Kang takes his spot, but that usually happened after the first tournament. And when he died before, and the tournament didn't even start, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it, the Mortal Kombat tournament is not seen in this movie. Even though it is called Mortal Kombat, you don't see the tournament or one fight of the tournament in this movie at all. And Kung Lao was awesome. He was destroying people, and especially when he kills, I think her name was like Kira, was like the vampire lady. He destroys her, and of course his flawless victory because he didn't get hit by her. That was cool. But I think he died too fast. I don't think Melina says a single line in the movie.
Yeah, I just when I looked up the name of the main character, Cole Young, um, I saw that Melina was in the movie, and I was like, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's like I think she fights. Oh, she fights Sonya Blade, but I think she said like one line, which is like already like her last line. I'm like, so she only gets one line. Okay. Kano was of course a really good one. He played Kano perfectly, but then again, he died too fast. I didn't think he should have died in this movie either.
Well, isn't Reptile in the movie too?
Yeah, he's in the beginning, but see my theory is hopefully that's not original Reptile, because what also people don't like is when they make Reptile actually look reptilian. People don't like that stuff, and for some reason they're still doing it. I don't know why. We like the
Yeah,
ninja Reptile. Like I like so in my opinion, I think the best looking Reptile they ever came out with, it would be the Reptile from Shaolin Monks. That was the best design in my opinion, because yes, he looked reptilian, but it wasn't like a super reptilian dude. Like he actually looked like a ninja slash reptile. Or like when he first showed up in the games, like that was also like probably the second best design. But after
well,
that, they would add like reptilian, like a snout. I'm like, dude, I don't like how that looks on reptile.
I actually really like MK1, the newest one. I like how he can like kind of like transform into a reptile. I thought that was a pretty cool take on it.
Oh shit, I already forgot about MK1, dude.
Really, I really liked MK1,
No,
but
no, like no, like no, I agree with you. That's like one of his best designs too. It's just that the game has been kind of like not really supporting the fans, so it's been going under the radar now.
well, in classic MK fashion, they shafted Kung Lao and made Raiden come back. But whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, guys. But like other great video game adaptations besides Mortal Kombat, oh, not Mortal Kombat really, besides Sonic, was The Last of Us.
Yeah, see that one. So I played the games before like the show came out. I played the first one and the second one with my girlfriend, and she really liked the story of the first one. Like she liked Joel, Ellie. Um, so I thought Pedro Pascal was a good casting because he kind of looks like the part. But if they wanted to hire someone solely for the part, and I think he would have done a good job as Joel too. I think if you've seen the Prisoners, how Hugh Jackman looks in Prisoners,
Oh yeah,
dude, that actually that would have been another good casting too.
yeah. There's no way they could have afford him. Hugh Jackman, no way.
I mean,
For
I think HBO had the rights, so they could have done it. Yeah, I think they had the money for it.
I don't know, but also you got to think too. Pedro Pascal is a hot commodity at the time. I mean, Mandalorian, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know he was popping off at the moment. Yeah, and
So that it's just the easiest way.
no, and I think that year, Pedro Pascal was involved in pretty much I think 9 months worth of media because the beginning from January to I forgot when the Last of Us ended. It was Pedro Pascal, and I think the second last episode that's when the third season of Mandalorian came out. So then we'll get more Pedro for the next like couple months. So like he had a chokehold on that year. I forgot what year that was.
And I think he had a movie come out with Nicolas Cage too.
Oh, that movie was
That same
so
year.
good. That was a good movie. I liked that movie a lot.
But that movie again, some of the things were slightly different, but nothing major that took away from the story. Like the story of The Last of Us is just so good. that they didn't really need to mess with it that much, and you kind of just let these actors, get a hold of the script, and they're such amazing actors that the show was amazing.
Hmm. Or and here again with adding things that make sense. Instead of changing stuff completely, what they change is how they try to explain how certain things work. So I'm not sure if the game explained it, but in the show, they explain it very well. But the fungus that, like the fungi that takes over the ants and insects that take over the brain, and like it actually makes them act differently and stuff, makes it act more hostile. And then the scientist goes, "Oh, but," and then the talk host goes, "Oh, but never happened to humans, right?" And he was like, "What if it did? Like, it will be at a crisis." And that's the reason why zombies are a thing in this universe. It's because there's a fungi infection that actually infected our brains, and that's the fungi that's making us act hostile towards, or zombies basically. And another cool thing they added was, we saw it in the think when the episode when Joel's second girlfriend was gonna die, and I think they killed a zombie there, but since the fungi is one huge big brain, it alerted a bunch of hordes from a nearby, like a nearby building, a warehouse, which then they know exactly where they're at because of the fungi telling them, "Hey, there's people here. We need to kill them." And I thought that was pretty cool. Um, they they did. You can tell they're playing it safe.
Yeah, I mean, they're not taking too many strays from the script, or from the script of the game, and hiring people that um, fit the role and also are well known. Because even the girl who plays Ellie, she's from Game of Thrones too, and she plays her character very well in both the Last of Us and Game of Thrones. But this is when it's around this time. The Last of Us, Sonic, The Last of Us, Castlevania. We're the era of like video game TV shows and movies start to really take off, and then we get after that we got Mario. I mean, not a the animated movie isn't a bad movie. It's just not a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
But we also get Uncharted right after that with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. I don't know. Did you see that movie?
Yeah, I saw it. I think I saw it twice because me and my girlfriend went to a drive-in, and when we went to go see, I forget what we went to go see, but the first movie was Uncharted, and we watched that one, and then she couldn't understand it because we're kind of far away, and she couldn't see. So as the second one was about to end, we moved to the front, and she was like, "Hey, can we see this? Can we see the Uncharted?" I was like, "Yeah, why not? Let's watch it again." And it was okay. It was pretty fun. You could tell, like, I think the best part of that movie was when there's a part in the airplane when when they're getting the cargo ship and they fall in the ocean, and as they get out, they're walking, and some guy's like laying there, and he goes, I forget what he says, but it's the guy who voiced Nathan Drake in the game. And now I told my girlfriend, that's the dude that voices Drake in the games. Oh shit! So that was pretty cool. But that
So
movie was pretty. That was okay, and like Mario was okay too. I wouldn't say it was like on level of Sonic, even though it is the most grossed video game movie, which I think isn't that spot in my opinion. The Sonic was better, but from that movie, there was a lot of weird things too. Like for some reason they played "Take on Me" when he entered the Donkey Kong village. That was a weird way to add a song for some reason. I don't know why they added that there. But I think the best part, of course, was when him and Luigi or Mario and Luigi get the star power, and they're basically like, they basically do like a Dragon Ball thing where the villain would do like a super strong punch, and like as he connects, like the wind and like the pressure of the air goes crazy, but then Mario's just standing there like not even moving a muscle.
it's the equivalent of like Frieza punching Goku in the Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah, and it just doesn't affect him at all.
I actually heard that when Sonic the first game came out, wasn't there rumors that they were trying to get a like Mario versus Sonic like movie off the ground or something like that? Like they wanted the Batman v Superman, the or
Really?
Civil War kind of coming out.
I
I
don't
thought you told me that.
I don't know actually, but if they did do that, they would have to build their universe for like. So I'm liking what like the direction Sonic's going to. Like they're making their universe like maybe in the fourth movie we're getting Silver, or I just thought about too that I forgot to mention yesterday. They might even do like a Sonic Unleashed type movie where he gets turns into a werewolf in the game, like in the game.
I
Yeah,
think that would. I think that would be a cool like how they're doing Knuckles, like how Knuckles is like getting his own show.
Oh yeah,
I would love a Sonic Unleashed show where
that'd be
it's
pretty
like
cool.
Knuckles and Tails and whoever else trying to, free Sonic.
Yeah, yeah, because like what they could do with this third movie is there's two ways of the stories they could do it for this third movie. They can either make like kind of like just take inspiration from Sonic Adventure 2 or more inspiration from Shadow the Hedgehog. But I feel like that should be either a separate TV show or just another movie alone of just Shadow. Because you could do a whole movie with his game alone.
I would love a Shadow show right after, that's inspired by the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Like I think that would be really awesome. But enough with Sonic. After that, we get other game movies like they had Five Nights at Freddy's, the Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed movie, not great. I did enjoy Five Nights at Freddy's. I thought it had a decent story and enough homages to the original games.
Yeah, that was actually pretty decent. I saw that one too. And oh my god, I'm already forgetting about this guy's name already. Matthew. What was his last name? His last name?
Lillard, Matthew
Yeah.
Lillard.
I think he's a perfect casting for Purple Guy. Perfect. Because Purple Guy is an
Agreed.
insane villain. So I was like, when I heard he was playing Purple Guy, well, they announced he's playing Purple Guy, but when he was in it, I was like, he has to be Purple Guy because who else would he play?
Yeah, and he signed up for, I think he said 6 movies or something
Oh
like that.
wow.
Yeah, I think he said 6 movie deal for Five Nights at Freddy's, and Matthew is the type of guy who loves doing things like that. I mean, obviously, he's a horror icon. He played Stu Macher in the original Scream,
Mhm.
and he's in the background of Scream 2, just so you guys know. Hopefully, he's going to be in Scream 7. That's all speculation, but he's in Five Nights at Freddy's, and I think he's going to just love and cherish this character. And I think he's going to do it justice. I can't wait to see him actually like be in the Springtrap costume as like this haunting being, if that's the direction they're going to take it. So I'm really looking forward to see what they do next um with that series, especially because they're already, releasing some footage online. Not footage, but like set photos and of the new costumes and other characters from Five Nights at Freddy's. So that should be a really great series for the next couple of years.
No, and also another thing too about it is the fact that they've been hiring, or the casting has been doing pretty good. Like they've been hiring people who actually have love for the series, or if they don't, so I'll just kind of smooth it into Fallout. The whole point of why we're making this episode. Um, they're getting people who have love for the media, and even if they don't even know the game, they study it. Like, for example, the guy who plays Cooper, or the Ghoul as you know him. Let me look up his name, because I like that actor. The first time I saw him was in Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight, and
Oh yeah.
I thought he was like one of the better characters.
He's also in the TV show called Justified. He plays Boyd Crowder in Justified. He plays Cecil in Invincible, and obviously he was in Hateful Eight, and he was in that show with Danny McBride. Forget what it's called, but he was his voice was all around TikTok at one point. So I'm sure at some point his voice is pretty iconic. You would have heard him and his very distinct looking face.
Oh, here he is. His name is Walton Goggins. There you go. Um, and there's an interview where he was like, "Dude, I never even played the games, never heard of it," but he said that his son was actually in love with that game. So I'm pretty sure this guy he would talk to his son like, "Hey, teach you about this world, like what I need to do, how does certain things work," and then I'm pretty sure on the side he did some of his own studying, like on like online, how to like act like a ghoul or something, or how some characters act like. And that's where it comes into where like you can tell these characters I just love the game, and even just the director who's doing it. What I liked about it was it wasn't a game or story that follows any other game in the series. It's literally its own unique thing, but still in the world of Fallout, and they still use like the same items that you would get. Like the my first time geeking out already was when the main girl, I forgot her name, Lucy, she got stabbed by one of the raiders. Um, and she took out a stim pack, and then as she used it, like the noise that you make when you inject yourself with a stim pack was made. I was like, and I told my girl, that's the noise it makes when you use a stim pack. I was just geeking out on this show. Everything that shows up, I was like, I like how they still stood with like um, the same universe, and then you could tell that they took inspiration. So the first major city that Lucy gets into after she emerges from the wasteland, I believe that city was super inspired by Diamond City in Fallout 4. It looks just like it. Um, Another inspiration. I see. I'm not sure if it is, but I feel like it is. But the guy who plays Cooper the Ghoul, I feel like he was probably inspired by Hancock, who was also another character from Fallout 4. He's a ghoul slash mayor of a town called Good Neighbor. And when you first see him, he's kind of chill. Like, hey man, I'll welcome here. And then some guy was kind of just disrespecting him a little bit. And he goes, hey man, come on, don't disrespect me. I'm a mayor here. And then he gets close and just fucking starts stabbing him. And I was like, oh shit. So I feel like they took inspiration from him too. And also his outfit looks kind of similar.
Well, I was gonna say the first time I geeked out during Fallout is when they go to get Cooper and the dude gets shot by the baby arm.
Oh, the junk jet?
Yeah, I was like, what? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like that's one of the things in the game. Like it's such a cool thing to do in Fallout, but to have that little detail in a show, it's gonna make the fans like, oh, like look, it's the gun, or the what's the little pistol that shoots nukes?
Oh, the actually I don't even think that gun's even in the game. I think they just added that one. Or
I
unless it
think it's
was
in Fallout 4. I believe there's a gun in Fallout 4 that shoots little nukes.
I don't know. It could be in the first two games because I think so this takes place in California, which I think Fallout 1 takes place in. So it could be maybe in there.
It's literally called Fat Man,
Oh
but
no,
it's
that yeah, that's the rocket launcher that you
yeah,
hold over your shoulder, yeah.
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's in Fallout 4. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
My
I
mistake. My
I,
mistake.
I haven't seen it in
But
this in the show yet. But they're probably
no,
saying it for the last episode maybe. I haven't finished it actually. I'm barely on episode 7, so I wouldn't know about
I'm
if it's in there yet.
I'm like nipping on your heels. I'm 2 episodes behind.
No, and then the thing I'm waiting for too, I haven't seen it yet. I hope we do, but I'm waiting for a Deathclaw to come out because that's like probably their most iconic monster from that series in the games. I know they kind of changed it up, which is pretty. I think it's pretty good. It's not bad. It's called a Gulper. It's kind of like It looks similar to like an axolotl, and that dude is scary. That's a scary
I
ass monster.
I was just about to say talk about the monsters and the creatures that we're getting to see in the show that we're like again we could be like, oh look, it's this creature from the game. The I just finished the episode that you're talking about, or not just finished, but not too long ago finished, and the fingers, man,
Oh
when
yeah.
oh my god, terrifying.
Those things are yeah. My girlfriend was like, "Oh, what is that?" I was like, "Those are fingers, I think."
Yeah, I was like, no, thank you, dude, no, thank you. But we actually missed a game, and I think it's a good thing we missed a game because I think this will go kind of into kind of what we're talking about, why Fallout is so good. Um, The Witcher.
Well,
The
I think The Witcher's based off the book, though, right?
so it's a little bit of both, but this is the thing: when you have actors that love what they do, they put a lot of passion into this. It gets the fans really hyped. That's why The Witcher got so much hype.
Hmm.
Henry Cavill's like, I read the books, I played the games, I love The Witcher, and he's like, I want to do it faithful to the books. Like, I want to be faithful. And so, in him doing that, it gets all the fans hyped, for the show. They're like, oh, it's gonna be just like the books or just like the game. He cares so much about it. And then when they something that Henry Cavill did that I really loved, um, when it started to steer away from that path that he knew was going to start disappointing the fans, he was like, "Hey, dude, this is not what I signed up for. You know,
Hmm.
this is not it." And so when you see an actor or director, writer have that same sort of vibe that Henry had for The Witcher, but now for Fallout, even though we're talking about it, he didn't play the games, but he wants to do a good job for his son. This is his son's favorite game, and he doesn't want to, fuck it up. He wants his son to watch this game and be like, "This is it. I love this. Like, good job, Dad."
Actually, now that I think about it, I think they took the designs from the game, right? For Geralt. I think it's what like his armor and like the way his hair looks, and I'm pretty sure the book described how he looks, but it's just a book. You can't really you can just picture it. But the show is like, we'll just take how the game looks because that looks dope.
Well, and the swords too. Like, the
Exactly.
swords are like perfect to the game.
Yep. Um, that was pretty good actually. I really like The Witcher. My girlfriend actually she pretty much finished 3 seasons like back to back in 2 days, and she was really loving it. I was like, damn, you like it that much? I would never thought you would like The Witcher. Um, and she's not a she okay. So she it shocks me. She doesn't think Henry Cavill was good looking. her
Blasphemy.
her type of men are beaners. So me, Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaac. She likes those guys. She's a huge fan of Oscar Isaac and Pedro Pascal, but she's not a fan of like the Henry Cavill's, Tom Hardy's, and even I'm like, you don't think Tom Hardy's handsome? I was like, you're crazy. But she said that's like this show. She's like, I actually really like Henry in this show. Like she was a huge fan of Henry, and I was like, honestly, as I was watching the show, I was just, in my opinion, it took a step back every time Henry wasn't in the show. In my opinion, yes, like others are like the other kids are good. Like the little girl. What's her name? Look at C.
Siri?
Siri. She's good. I liked her, but more later on though. In the beginning, I'm kind of like. But
Yeah.
Jennifer was
Little
also kind of
damsel.
similar. Yeah, and then Jennifer's the same. I was like, she's cool. At least she's alright, but she gets better and like later on. I wasn't a fan of that one wizard guy who she first has intercourse with. I wasn't really a fan of that guy either. Um, and then of course, like as soon as you said her name was Siri,
I believe so.
when her and Geralt gets to like the actual temple of where the witches are at, I'm like, everything about this episode of them chilling here was awesome. That was literally the
The
best part of the whole show. And like I said, like every time Henry's on there, it's the best part.
Well, also you missed arguably the best character is Yaskir, the bard that follows him around.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah,
Dude, he in the game he's Dandelion, but they changed his name to Yaskir in the show. But man, is he just a fun character, and I think he almost steals the show every scene he's in.
when him and girl are bouncing off each other, that's like for sure like the best parts of the show.
Yeah,
Like
that's
they
like
bounce
peak
off well.
Witcher.
Yeah, good chemistry between those two.
But that's like again, you could see the passion in those two, and all the actors in The Witcher, I will say. But I think Henry had the star power to be like, "Hey, you guys aren't gonna do this right. I don't want to be a part of it," and not really feel the danger of like, like this is kind of like for the other actors, this is kind of their only big breakout roles is this show. But for Henry, he's like, I get to like, I'm gonna take a step away. He was supposed to play more Superman until the DC universe just took a dump on itself, and then he's in like every action movie, and on top of that, now he's actually getting another video game TV show in Warhammer 40K. Shout out to Gabe, because he loves that game. Um, Warhammer 40K is a tabletop game. It's Space Marines. It's Dark Tide. So many great video games, and that's Henry Cavill's favorite game series, so I'm sure he's going to take great care of that series.
Oh yeah.
But back to back to Fallout. Sorry for the little Henry Cavill Witcher rant. Like, Fallout has just every character is great.
Yeah. No, and then oh yeah, I forgot to mention about stuff that's a good change, but it's not really change. It's more like the added to it was on how feral ghouls and regular ghouls are different alike. So feral ghouls are pretty much what you see as Cooper. He looks like a zombie, but he could talk. He knows what he's doing. He can control what he's doing. Ferogos are like zombies where they just attack on sight no matter who it is. And what I thought was pretty cool was they mentioned there's these bags of liquid going into like where Cooper was at. And I remember asking myself that question, and even my girlfriend was like, "What is that?" I was like, "I have no idea what that liquid is." I was like, "It could be water." I thought it was water. I was like, "It could be water, probably just like keeping him hydrated or something." And then I think in episode 2, he has it's kind of like an inhaler of the same liquid, and he like inhales it. He was coughing, and he goes, and he takes it, and I was like, "Oh, he's probably sick with something. I don't know." Turns out he needs that in order to not go feral. And I was like, "Okay, that makes sense. That's smart. I like that change that they did." Because in the game of Fallout, if you get hit by radiation, you can either turn into a regular ghoul, but if you get too much of it, you turn feral. But they never mentioned like, oh, I need a liquid to stay sane. No, they're just like, oh yeah, I'm just a ghoul. Like, what's going on, man? These guys are like, no, we need a liquid in order to stay sane, because if not, we'll go crazy. And I thought that was pretty dope.
And you just made me think of something. A great video game adaptation adds to the lore of the universe. It doesn't take away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think to compare the because people are going to say, what's the difference between the tattoo in Mortal Kombat and the liquid in Fallout? The difference is the liquid in Fallout adds to it. It gives these characters an extra dimension of intrigue. Like, hey, these guys have to constantly make money because this is an expensive thing. This liquid is expensive. Like, you'll see in the show, like, what Cooper is almost willing to trade for this liquid to stay basically human. Whereas in Mortal Kombat, if all these people, all you need to be special is a tattoo, then why are all these people working so hard? Why did Liu Kang and Kung Lao, train their whole lives for this? Why is Sub-Zero so strong? Is it just because of that tattoo? Like, it takes away from those characters rather than adds to it, like the Liquid of Fallout.
Mm-hmm. And then I think it's always good to add something where it keeps you on your toes. So like if Cooper is like, oh, he's going crazy, I'm like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen next? Like how is he gonna get out of this? That adds to it. Um, I was just thinking of something else too. Oh my god.
Dude, that is a constant for me. I'm not gonna lie. I constantly forget what I'm talking about. I just get so wrapped up in what I'm talking about, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, what was I even saying? I don't even remember.
Yeah, no, I totally forgot. But yeah, like and it works the same way with like the comic book movies, where like if they change the whole purpose of Batman killing, then that takes away his character. You're changing his entire character. You're not just changing a little bit. No, you're changing the entire character, rather than you can just add on to his character, rather than just changing the entire thing. You just gotta stick with the material. Like that's a good. So here's what I think is good formula on making a good video game adaptation. Is you need actors who are good, but then also understand the material and are in love with the material. Hire a directors, producers, etc. Those kind of people like that are the same thing, where they love material. And also choose the right studio, like not a studio who be like, hey, you can't add that. You got to change this about this material. And directors are like, okay, we'll just do it. Rather than directors saying, no, we're not doing that, or I'm not going to do this at all. Because if we don't make a good adaptation, then what's the point of even making one in general, I did hear the plot twist in the end of the show. I'm not sure what it is yet, and I can't wait for it. It's already been renewed for season 2 already, which is awesome.
Yeah, I had a little twist get spoiled for me. I was talking to someone recently about it, and they were like, "Oh, can you believe this happens?" And I was like, "Dude, I told you I was on episode 2."
That sucks, dude. Look. Oh man, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, dude, thanks." One of my coworkers, shout out to them, dude.
But
But before we get into our closing here, what are some games you want to see get?
oh, dude, I was just about to mention that right now too, and that you asking me that. So if the Fallout universe could get a really good TV show adaptation, or I mean, yeah, no, it. Actually, hold on. Before we finish this shit, I actually want to add another topic. When it comes to making adaptations for video games, it is most likely going to succeed when it's a TV show rather than a movie. Because with games, dude, those things are like 40, 60, or if you're like crazy like Skyrim, 1,000 hours long. You gotta add and try to squeeze in as much as you can in order to make a really good one. Which is why a lot of movie adaptations from back in the day failed, because they're just movies. They're not shows. But if you see shows, like, they're always usually good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, even in recent history, with Castlevania, Fallout, the first I mean, the first and second season of The Witcher, in comparison to Mortal Kombat, Assassin's Creed, Warcraft, the movie, like all those movies weren't either terrible or not as good.
Mm-hmm. But to go back, so a adaptation I would have loved to see on live action.
Give me a couple.
All right, I'll give you a couple. So my first one, of course, the Elder Scrolls, dude. I mean, if Fallout did so well, they could do the exact same thing with the Elder Scrolls. But don't just skip straight to Skyrim. You got to build the universe like how Fallout's doing. Start from the first and then build your way to Skyrim. Or as a matter of fact, just have a series of each of each area, which how the games are. Each game just takes care of a different area, but don't do the same thing. Make like a new story, But of course, with Skyrim, it's a little more different. You have to make a story about the Dragonborn, because that's like the whole purpose of it, and it's the reason why that game did so well, was because of the Fusu Da and stuff, like those kind of like memes.
I thought it did so good because people were taking arrows to the knee.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. Sorry, dude. Sorry.
Another one. Damn, I didn't really think about this. Let me see. Or do you have one? I'll think of mine right now as you say yours.
I have a few in my head. One of them I definitely want to see, and I think would be very easy to do, especially because we saw how if you follow a game with a really good story, like you just can almost copy and paste it to the TV show universe. I would love to see a Ghost of Tsushima.
Ooh, that's a good shout.
I would love a Ghost of Tsushima show. I even think they could do a movie, but I think it would have to be a two-part movie just because of how expansive that game is. It's literally hours and hours of content that is just amazing. So I'd really love to see a Ghost of Tsushima movie. Another one. This one is just because I like, if you've listened to us for a while, I'm like what I'm gonna say here. I would love a Far Cry game or Far Cry movie or TV show. I absolutely love it, especially a Far Cry 3.
Voss, yeah.
Voss, yes. I think we got to make a live action Voss TV show, movie, something as fast as possible.
Oh yeah. Ooh, actually, because I'm looking at my library right now, the games I play. I think another good TV show that would do really well would be Red Dead Redemption.
Agreed. So let me ask you now about Red Dead. Would you like it to follow new set of characters, or would you want to see John and Arthur in live action?
See, this is the thing. I would like to see new things, because I've already played the first set game so many times already. I was like, I kind of know the story. I know how it's gonna go. It would see, the thing is too, because when it comes to adaptations and you just follow the game, it is good for new people because they never seen it. So for example, like my girlfriend really liked she's liking Fallout. And she even she's shocked about some of the things that happened. So she was so shocked that actually all the vaults in Fallout are actually just experiments people. Even though I already knew that. I'm like, yeah, I already knew that this vault that they're in is gonna have some kind of secret. And she's like freaking out, like, oh my god, this secret is crazy. Oh, this vault has this secret. I'm like, yeah. And I told her, like, yeah, all vaults, it's all just a scam. They're actually all just experiments on people. And she got mind blown by it. But I would like a new Red Dead story, but if they kept the same writers from Rockstar who wrote the first and second game, I would love to see that. If they made a new story entirely from themselves. Because I mean, and the thing is too, like, with the iconic voices of the characters in this game, you can recast them, man, in my opinion. So like, for example, like Arthur Morgan, like if for some reason they don't cast Roger Clark as him, then I was like, then I'm not gonna watch it. Same with like the guy who voiced Dutch. If he's not getting hired, then I don't want to watch it. Same with John Marston, with Javier Escuela. Like, if you're not hiring these guys as the actual people to play these characters, then I don't want to watch it because their voices is what made them so iconic as well.
And what about a Bloodborne or
Yeah, that was my next shout too. Was a Souls game type
a
TV
Souls game?
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Sekiro. Sekiro could actually be done really good if we can see like, because the thing that we don't see is, so when the game first starts, you see how his name's Al. He's like a really badass samurai. He's a shinobi, man. He's a shinobi. And he finds the main character Wolf as a kid, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to teach you the way of the shinobi." But then it cuts to like already him full grown. So I would love to see like a show of like him growing up to be the shinobi, or the badass shinobi that he is in the game, because he is of course amazing. Um, and then it's gonna be more difficult for the Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Elden Ring, those type of games, because the main character doesn't talk.
I think that would give them a lot of opportunity to either succeed or fail, because if we go to Halo, the Paramount Plus
Hmm.
show, Master Chief doesn't talk a lot, and you don't really see Master Chief's face. So what is the first thing they do in the first episode? They take his helmet off naturally.
Yeah. That's so
So
stupid.
I think because for me, I really love the world of Bloodborne. I think that would be such an interesting like show, and it could be a great horror show. I think Bloodborne is probably one of the more terrifying video games uh worlds out there. Like the creepiness and like the way everything looks. It gives me very like Grim Tale, like Brothers Grimm style vibes.
Oh yeah, dude. I actually just recently platinum Bloodborne. I think the other day. Um, oh dude, that game was fun. I had a really fun time platinuming that game. And it is true. Like it's the way the game is, with the story wise, it would be really good with a good writer. Just because a bunch of stuff in that game is really crazy. Um, and even like the insight, the bosses and stuff like that. Because the lore is pretty good, but like I said, like it's gonna be a little more difficult for them to add lore to the certain bosses. Because in the game it's mostly done by NPC interaction. So you'll talk to them like, oh yeah, this guy was this before and that, and then there's some items you pick up from the bosses that have a description of how the boss was before, how it is after. So it'll be a little more difficult for like the Bloodborne Dark Souls, but they can easily do like a Sekiro one, like for sure.
Yeah, and I think for me, those are really the only games I can really think of right now that I would love to see. Like, because I know some people say like, oh, Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty or Gears of War. And it's, to be honest, I mean, Gears is a great one because I think they're making one with Dave Batista. But I feel like it's gonna just do the thing we've been talking about, where it's just gonna be the same as the game, and it's like I already played all the games, so I don't really need to watch a TV show about it. And
Actually,
so I
oh go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I was just gonna say, so I think those are really the only games that come to mind. So what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that they're even making a Minecraft adaptation. I think it's a movie.
Us. Interesting. If he doesn't punch trees to get wood,
It has to. Oh, actually,
I'm
they're
gonna be
also
so mad.
they're also making an Among Us movie that's confirmed that Elijah Wood is going to be in.
Oh my god, I'm gonna say it now. It's him. It's Elijah
It's him
Wood.
on.
Yeah, it's first person I would vote out is Elijah Wood for sure.
I see how you act with the ring, motherfucker. You ain't gonna fool me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what I the feature for adaptations. If they just take notes and tips from like these past ones that have been coming out, then we would have a good future with the adaptation that they can make later on with different games.
Yeah, I think it's a bright future for the video game world and when it comes to TV and movies. And I think it also a really cool idea would be having a TV show or movie that leads up to a game.
That too, that'll be good as well.
Like have a 4 or 5 episode Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu series, and then drop a game. And I think that would people would love that. I think it would get people into playing games who don't usually play games.
Yeah, that's a really good idea actually. And as a matter of fact, before we finish, what since this whole podcast was about Fallout, what is your favorite Fallout game?
New Vegas.
Yeah, same here. New Vegas is the best one.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah,
I
that's the
think
best one. Even though I played 3 and 4 before New Vegas, I was like, but after New Vegas, I'm like, wow, this one is the best.
it's just the most fun. It's got the best story. Um, I love New Vegas. So much fun.
Oh yeah. And actually, speaking of New Vegas, I've been freaked out. Wait, what episode are you on again?
No, that's the thing I was gonna tell you that I know about that.
NCR.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I saw the flag in the NCR, and I'm like, I told my girlfriend, that's the NCR. They play a really major part in the New Vegas game. And she's like, "Who are they?" I'm like, it's too much to talk about. It's a long lore."
you like pause it and you're like, okay, are you ready? Buckle in
Yeah.
for fucking 4 hours of lore.
Exactly. But Fallout, keep doing what you're doing. I hope the second season is just as banger as the first one. I'm not finished, but I think I'm the 7th one, so I'm already almost finished. But even my girlfriend, who has no idea what Fallout was, because I never mentioned Fallout before the show, like I never played it because I don't know, I've been playing more Souls like stuff. But she's really enjoying the fucking show, and she doesn't do well with gory stuff. Like she feels sick after. Like my stomach feels weird from seeing the guy's head explode from when the power armor crushed his head.
Best kill. Well,
Yeah,
not the best kill, but one of the best kills for sure. It really the power armor is real in that game.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. And she's even like, wow, like I want to watch more. Like we'll finish one, but all right, let's watch one. We'll finish. She goes, you want to watch another one? I was like, yeah, I kind of think watching another one.
And that's how you know you got a good show, and like that's what I'm really looking forward to and the rest of the because I'm only on episode 5, so I'm really looking forward to what's gonna go on with the rest of the season, what's gonna go on with the rest of the series. And I think the girl who is Lucy in Amazon Prime, I think she plays what was that? I think hold on. There's a Netflix show about a video game, and I think she does the voice acting for that show. What is it called?
Yeah, I've never really seen much of her. Actually, this is the first time you've seen her as an actress in general.
Now we're just like all. She's in Arcana.
Oh, Arcane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the what. Well, what's that show that only virgins play? I forget what that game's called. League of Legends. There you go.
League of Legends.
Yeah,
Only versions play.
Dude.
Shout out to all the League of Legends players, dude.
if you play a game, you smell worse than Super Smash Bros. Players.
Wrong, dude. If you play that game, you smell slightly better than people who play World of Warcraft. Slightly better.
Wow, so, that's a really huge. That's a big take. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Owen does smell like shit. He's a World of Warcraft player.
That makes sense, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Owen playing World of Warcraft makes sense, dude.
All right, Ryan. Well, say the outro, buddy.
Thanks everyone for listening. Unless you play World of Warcraft and League of Legends and Super Smash Bros. But other than that, thank you guys for listening. This has been the Gamer and the Weeb podcast, the only podcast that needed a stim pack to come back. Thanks.
Later.